The vast chamber of the Galactic Council fell silent as Admiral James Thorne stood alone before the semicircular array of alien representatives. The room stretched hundreds of feet in every direction, carved from a single asteroid at the heart of the galaxy. Hovering platforms held delegates from 1,000 worlds, crystalline beings that shimmered in the light, gaseous entities contained in floating spheres, multi-limbed creatures with eyes that blinked in unsettling patterns. They all stared down at the single human in their midst. High Arbiter Vex, a 12-foot insectoid with gleaming black exoskeleton, leaned forward. When he spoke, his mandibles clicked with each syllable. "You stand accused of unprovoked aggression against the Meridian Fleet," he announced, his voice amplified throughout the chamber. "The evidence is irrefutable." Holographic displays materialized around the room, showing Earth vessels opening fire on alien warships. The recordings played in slow motion, human torpedoes striking alien shields, followed by explosions that tore through the Meridian ships. Admiral Thorne, gray-haired but standing straight in his simple blue uniform, remained calm. His weathered face betrayed no emotion. "I request permission to present evidence," he said, his voice somehow carrying through the vast space without seeming to raise it. A murmur rippled through the assembly. No species had ever requested to present evidence at their own sentencing. "Denied," hissed Ambassador Loon, a serpentine diplomat whose scales shifted colors with his muda currently a deep crimson. "The judgment is already decided. Earth will submit to immediate occupation or face extinction." Admiral Thorne smiled out, a gesture many aliens found disturbing. He tapped his wrist device once. Suddenly, every display in the chamber flickered and changed. Now they showed Meridian ships moving into position near Earth's outer colonies, weapons powering up, firing first. The human vessels had responded only after 3 colonies had been hit. "How did you access our secure systems?" demanded Vex, mandibles chattering with agitation. "That's not important," Thorne replied calmly. "What matters is that while I've been standing here speaking with you, 17 of your military installations have been compromised." The chamber erupted in chaos. Security alerts flashed across personal terminals. Delegates conferred frantically with their home governments. Thorne raised his voice only slightly, but somehow it cut through the pandemonium. "Earth doesn't want war," he said. "But understand this: how we've been fighting ourselves for thousands of years. We've perfected the art of conflict in ways you cannot imagine." He stepped forward, causing the security fields around him to shimmer. "You see us as primitive because we haven't spread beyond our solar system. The truth is, we chose to stay home in perfect technologies you haven't even conceived of." He opened his palm, revealing a small metallic device. "This can shut down every system in this chamber. I could have come with weapons, but I came with evidence instead. That was a courtesy. The next human who stands before you may not be so diplomatic." The High Arbiter's compound eyes reflected the light as he studied the human. "You threaten the Galactic Council? With your single world against our thousands?" "No," Thorne replied. "I'm warning you. There's a difference." 3 hours later, Admiral Thorne sat in a holding cell. The walls were transparent, allowing guards from 4 different species to watch his every move. He showed no concern, sitting motionless on a bench that had been hastily adapted for human physiology. The cell door dissolved, and Counselor Tella entered. Unlike most council members, she stood only slightly taller than a human. Her skin had a blue-green tint, and her 4 eyes blinked independently of each other. "Your evidence has caused considerable distress," she said. Thorne nodded. "Evidence often does. General Kraz of the Meridian Forces denies everything. He claims your recordings are fabricated." "He would," Thorne replied. "The attack was his idea. The Council never authorized it." Tella's eyes all widened simultaneously. "How could you possibly know that?" Thorne didn't answer directly. "Your species values truth above all else. That's why you're here, isn't it? To determine what really happened?" She hesitated before responding. "The Council has voted to release you. Your ship will be allowed to return to Earth. End the war." "There is no official war," she said carefully. Thorne stood. "But unofficially? General Kraz commands significant forces. He believes humans are a threat that must be eliminated before you expand beyond your system. He's right to fear us," Thorne said, "but not for the reasons he thinks." The Terran diplomatic vessel broke orbit from the Council headquarters. On the bridge, Admiral Thorne watched as the massive station, a hollowed-out asteroid the size of Earth's Moonu, receded on the view screen. Lieutenant Marcus approached. "Sir, all communication systems are secure." "We can speak freely," Thorne nodded. "Status report. Our intelligence networks remain undetected. Defensive systems across all Earth colonies are at full readiness. The Mars shipyards have accelerated production of the Defender-class vessels. And Project Prometheus? Dr. Morgan reports all systems are green. The network is in place." Thorne turned to face his second-in-command. "They're coming, Marcus. Kraz won't wait for council approval. We've been preparing for this possibility for 100 years, sir." "Longer than that," Thorne corrected. "Since we first detected their signals in the 21st century. Since we realized we weren't alone and that the galaxy might not be friendly." He called up a tactical display showing Earth's solar system, surrounded by a network of sensors and defense platforms that extended far beyond Pluto. Most were invisible to standard scanning methods. "Humanity has always excelled at war," Thorne said quietly. "We spent millennia fighting each other. When we finally united, we didn't abandon those skills, or we refined them, hoping we'd never need them against an external threat." Marcus nodded. "Sir, how much does the Council know about our true capabilities?" Thorne smiled grimly. "Almost nothing. They think we're confined to our solar system because we lack their faster-than-light technology." He gestured to a section of the display showing what appeared to be empty space. "They have no idea about our deep space outposts or our quantum communications network." The Admiral's expression hardened. "We wanted peaceful first contact. We hoped to join the galactic community as equals. But Kraz and those like him see us as a potential rival to be crushed before we can challenge them." "Their mistake," Marcus said. "Yes," Thorne agreed, "and they'll realize it soon enough." On the Meridian homeworld, General Kraz reviewed battle plans with his staff. The tall ridge-backed alien pointed to projections of Earth's defenses. "Their technology is primitive," he growled. "Their weapons are chemical or nuclear at best. They have no planetary shields, no faster-than-light capabilities, no graviton weaponry." One of his officers, Commander Lax, looked uncertain. The human admiral seemed very confident. "Bluffing," Kraz dismissed. "A primitive psychological tactic, but the evidence he presented, fabricated." Kraz slammed his fist on the table. "I led those operations myself. We were careful. Their colonies never saw us coming until it was too late. Yet somehow they had recordings." Kraz's eyes narrowed. "A security breach, nothing more. One that will be investigated after we've dealt with the human problem." He expanded the holographic display, showing Earth's solar system. "We strike in force. Overwhelm their defenses before they can organize. The Council may not have officially sanctioned this operation, but they'll thank us when Earth is under our control." Commander Lax studied the tactical projections. "What about their claims of hidden capabilities?" "More bluffs," Kraz said dismissively. "Their entire civilization has been under surveillance for decades. We know exactly what they can do." He smiled, showing rows of pointed teeth. "And what they can't." Back on Earth, Admiral Thorne stood before the United Earth Defense Council. The chamber was simple compared to the Galactic Council. A round room with 50 seats for representatives from Earth's unified regions. "War is coming," Thorne announced. "The Meridian forces at minimum, possibly others." Secretary General Rivera, the head of the council, leaned forward. "Did our display of capability have any effect?" "Some," Thorne replied. "The council itself is divided. But General Kraz has convinced many that we must be dealt with now, before we become too powerful." "Little do they know," someone muttered. Rivera raised her hand for silence. "Dr. Morgan, what's the status of our defensive systems?" Dr. Alara Morgan, a woman in her 50s with sharp eyes and silver-streaked black hair, stood. "The outer sensor grid is fully operational. The Jupiter and Saturn defense platforms are armed and ready. The Mars fleet is at 93% strength." "And Project Prometheus?" Rivera asked. "Fully implemented," Dr. Morgan replied. "We've had infiltration programs in their systems for 15 years. At your command, we can disrupt their communications, navigation, and weapon systems." Rivera nodded grimly. "We always hoped this day would never come. That we could reveal ourselves gradually, prove we were no threat." She looked around the room. "Activate all defense protocols. Alert all colonies. As of this moment, Earth is at war." In the darkness of space beyond Neptune, sensors detected the first wave of incoming ships. The galactic forces had arrived, expecting to find a primitive civilization unpre. The massive galactic armada emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of Earth's solar system. 300 warships representing the combined might of 12 alien civilizations formed a battle line that stretched across millions of miles. On the command deck of the flagship Inevitable Victory, Admiral Draz of the Eurylian Empire watched the holographic display of the target system with 6 eyes that blinked in sequence. "Primitive defenses detected," reported his tactical officer. "Rudimentary satellites and a small fleet of chemical-propelled vessels near the 4th planet." Draz's mouth tentacles curled in what his species considered a smile. "Hardly worth our advanced targeting systems. Begin the approach. Remember, this is officially a peacekeeping mission. We are here to protect the galaxy from human aggression." The communications officer, a tall being with translucent skin, turned from her station. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the humans. Text only. Display it," Draz ordered. The message appeared in the air before him. "Attention, Galactic Forces. You have entered Sovereign Human. Space, withdraw immediately, or face defensive measures." Laughter rippled through the command deck, each species expressing amusement. "In their own way. Send no response," Draz ordered. "Continue approach. Launch probes toward their inner planets." The armada moved forward, sleek vessels gliding through space with the confidence of technological superiority. Reconnaissance probes shot ahead, streaking toward Earth and its neighboring worlds. Without warning, space itself seemed to ripple. Where there had been emptiness between Neptune and Uranus, defense platforms appeared, dropping some kind of cloaking technology. Before the alien fleet could react, energy beams lanced out, destroying every probe instantly. "Impossible," shouted the tactical officer. "Our scans showed nothing there." Draz's tentacles stiffened in alarm. "Shields up." "Prepare for OW," he never finished the sentence. From the seemingly empty space around his fleet, missiles appeared from nowhere, streaking toward the galactic vessels. Unlike primitive nuclear weapons, these projectiles bypassed shields completely, phasing through defensive barriers before rematerializing inside ship hulls. Within 30 seconds, 27 alien warships erupted in silent explosions. "They have phase shift technology?" Draz gasped, his exoskeleton paling. "That's theoretical even to our scientists." The communications officer frantically worked her console. "Another message from Earth, Admiral." The text floated before them. "That was a demonstration, not our full capability. This is your final warning." Draz's tactical officer turned all 6 eyes toward him. "Sir, we're detecting energy signatures throughout the system. Thousands of them, powering up." In her command bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Alara Morgan watched the holographic battle display with intense focus. Around her, dozens of technicians monitored Earth's defensive network. "Outer defense grid performing at optimal levels," reported her assistant, Thomas. "The phase shift missiles worked perfectly." Dr. Morgan nodded, her silver-streaked hair pulled back tightly from her face. "What's their response?" "They've halted their advance, but they're not retreating. Looks like they're regrouping." Morgan tapped commands into her console. "Activate the Jupiter platforms. Let's show them another card from our hand." Throughout Jupiter's orbital path, hidden defense satellites emerged from within the gas giant's atmosphere, where they had been concealed for decades. Massive energy cannons rotated toward the alien fleet. On her private channel, Morgan contacted Admiral Thorne, who was aboard Earth's flagship Defender in orbit. "Admiral, the first wave has been stopped, but they're regrouping." Thorne's voice came through clearly. "Despite being millions of miles away, another technology the aliens thought humans didn't possess. They expected us to be defenseless," Thorne replied. "They still don't understand what they're facing. Prepare for their counterattack. They'll be angry now." Morgan's eyes narrowed. "We've spent a century preparing for this day. Let them come." On the Meridian homeworld, General Kraz stormed into the military council chamber. The assembled officers fell silent at the sight of his rage. 27 ships lost in the initial engagement. He roared, "How is this possible? Their technology should be centuries behind ours." An intelligence officer tentatively raised a hand. "General, it appears our assessments of human capabilities were incomplete." "Incomplete?" Kraz slammed his fist on the table, cracking its surface. "They have phase-shift weapons, cloaking technology, a defense grid that spans their entire system. They must have been hiding their true level of advancement," another officer suggested. "Deliberately appearing primitive." Kraz's breathing slowed as realization dawned. All those decades, watching them launch their chemical rockets thinking they were just reaching for their moon. His eyes widened. It was all misdirection. He turned to his communications officer. Contact the council. Tell them we need reinforcements. Every available ship. Counselor Tella stood before the emergency session of the Galactic Council, her 4 eyes blinking rapidly in distress. The peacekeeping mission has suffered significant losses, she reported. The humans' defensive capabilities far exceed our intelligence assessments. High Arbiter Vex chittered anxiously. How could we have been so wrong? Our surveillance has watched them for over a century. Ambassador Loon's scales had shifted to a worried blue. They showed us exactly what they wanted us to see. Tella nodded. Admiral Thorne tried to warn us. He said they had been preparing for thousands of years. Vex's mandibles clicked in agitation. What are our options? General Kraz requests full military mobilization, Tella said. He believes overwhelming force is our only option. And if that fails? Asked Loon, Tella's voice lowered. Then we face an enemy who has outthought us at every turn. Commander Jackson led his squadron of Earth fighters through the rings of Saturn. Unlike the bulky atmospheric craft humans had once used, these vessels were sleek, nearly invisible to standard sensors, and capable of maneuvers that would kill most alien pilots. Raptor Squadron, maintain stealth approach, he ordered through the quantum comm. Enemy fleet approaching from Vector 317. Copy that, came the response from his pilots. Rules of engagement, sir? Disabling shots when possible, Jackson replied. We want prisoners for intelligence. The squadron glided silently through the ice and rock of Saturn's rings, using the debris as additional cover. Ahead, a detachment of 15 alien vessels moved cautiously, scanning for threats. They're looking right at us, commented his wingman, Lieutenant Cooper. But their sensors can't penetrate our stealth tech. Wait for my mark, Jackson ordered. As the alien ships moved into optimal position, he gave the command. Execute Maneuver Prometheus. The Earth fighters burst from hiding, accelerating at forces that would have liquefied most alien life forms. Only humans with their genetically enhanced physiology and advanced inertial dampeners could withstand such maneuvers. Before the alien ships could respond, the Earth fighters had disabled their engines with precision shots that somehow bypassed their shields. How is this possible? Demanded the alien commander over an open channel. Our shield technology, is based on deflecting energy at specific frequencies, Jackson interrupted. Our weapons operate on a quantum uncertainty principle. They're neither energy nor matter until they interact with their target. Silence followed. Your ships are disabled, Jackson continued. Prepare to be boarded. In her lab on Earth, Dr. Morgan reviewed the data from the latest engagements. Her team had captured several alien vessels intact, providing valuable intelligence. Their faster-than-light drive uses principles we theorized decades ago, she told Admiral Thorne over the secure channel. We can disrupt it with targeted pulses from our quantum transmitters. Thorne's holographic image nodded. That would strand their reinforcements halfway here. Do it, Morgan typed commands into her system. Throughout the solar system, hidden transmitters activated, sending precisely calibrated signals into the fabric of space-time itself. Light years away, the second wave of the alien armada suddenly dropped out of faster-than-light travel, stranded in the emptiness between stars. On the bridge of the Defender, Thorne received the confirmation. Phase 1 complete, he announced to his crew. Their reinforcements have been neutralized. His tactical officer looked up from her station. Sir, the remaining enemy vessels are pulling back to Neptune's orbit. They appear to be waiting. They're reassessing, Thorne explained. Everything they thought they knew about us has been proven wrong. They're trying to understand what they're facing. What's our next move, sir? Thorne studied the tactical display. Activate Operation Hydra. It's time to show them we're not just good at defense. Throughout Earth's solar system, hidden shipyards revealed themselves. From Mars, Jupiter's moons, and the asteroid belt, hundreds of warships emerged. Not the primitive vessels the aliens had expected, but advanced craft incorporating technologies the galactic forces had never seen. The human counterattack was about to begin. On the council station, Tella received the disturbing reports. The humans have neutralized our faster-than-light capabilities within their system. Our second wave is stranded. How? demanded Vex. That technology is fundamental to space. Professor Dominic Reyes stood before the massive quantum computer core beneath Geneva. 6 months into the war with the galactic forces, his normally immaculate appearance had given way to rumpled clothing and 3 days of stubble. Dark circles shadowed his eyes, but those eyes burned with intensity as he addressed the gathered military and scientific leadership. For 70 years, we've been inserting dormant code into every alien system we could access, he explained, gesturing to the holographic display showing thousands of points of light, representing alien worlds and installations. Through automated probes, commercial exchanges, and covert operations, we've placed quantum-entangled processors in their networks, their ships, even their personal devices. Secretary General Rivera leaned forward. And they never detected this infiltration? The technology operates on principles they haven't discovered, Reyes replied. To their scans, our devices appear to be standard components. They're designed to mimic whatever technology they're embedded in. Dr. Morgan, who stood at the back of the room, stepped forward. The situation on the surface is growing dire. The aliens have established beachheads in Asia, North America, and Africa. Conventional forces are struggling to hold them back. The room fell silent. Everyone knew the reports. Despite Earth's technological surprises, the sheer numbers of the galactic forces were overwhelming. The aliens had been shocked by human capabilities, but they controlled thousands of worlds and had resources beyond imagination. It's time to activate Prometheus, Reyes said firmly. All of it. Admiral Thorne, joining via holographic projection from his flagship in orbit, nodded. Do it. Reyes turned to the quantum core, placing his hand on the security scanner. Computer, execute Prometheus protocol. Authorization Reyes Omega 73. The massive machine hummed to life, its crystals glowing with increasing intensity. Throughout the galaxy, the dormant code awakened. On the Meridian homeworld, General Kraz was reviewing battle plans when every screen in the command center suddenly went dark. When they reactivated seconds later, they displayed the same message. Cease hostilities immediately. What is this? He roared. Secure our systems. We can't, sir, his technology officer replied, panic in his voice. We're locked out of everything in defense networks, communications, power distribution. Even personal devices, similar scenes played out across thousands of worlds. On ships approaching Earth, navigation systems failed, sending vessels veering off course. Weapon systems shut down. Life support remained functional, but little else. In the Galactic Council chamber, High Arbiter Vex watched in horror as their entire information network displayed the same message. Over and over. Cease hostilities immediately. Ambassador Loon's scales had turned pure white. How is this possible? Their influence cannot extend beyond their system. Counselor Tella, who had been advocating for peace from the beginning, closed all 4 of her eyes briefly. They've been planning this for decades. While we watched them, thinking them primitive, they were studying us, infiltrating us. But the distances involved, Vex protested. Our worlds are hundreds of light years apart. They must have solved the quantum entanglement problem, Tella replied quietly. Instantaneous communication and control across any distance. In his underground bunker near what had once been New Delhi, Commander Vikram held off waves of alien troops. His soldiers were exhausted but still fighting with the determination that had surprised their enemies time and again. They're regrouping for another push, his lieutenant reported. We're down to our last power cells for the energy barriers. Vikram nodded grimly. We hold as long as we can. Geneva says help is coming. Suddenly, the alien assault stopped. Through his tactical visor, Vikram watched in amazement as the enemy troops' weapons simply deactivated in their hands. Their communication devices failed simultaneously. The aliens looked around in confusion, some trying desperately to reactivate their equipment. Vikram's own communicator activated with a priority message from command. Operation Prometheus is active. All alien technology has been compromised. Advance and accept surrenders. Admiral Thorne watched the holographic battle display from his flagship. Across Earth and throughout the solar system, the alien forces were in disarray. It worked, his tactical officer said, awe in her voice. Every system we targeted is down, Thorne nodded. Open a channel to their fleet commander. The alien admiral appeared on screen, his insectoid features rigid with shock. What have you done to our ships? The same thing we've done to every piece of technology in the Galactic Alliance, Thorn replied calmly. We've demonstrated control. This is impossible, the alien insisted. Your civilization is confined to one system. You can't possibly affect worlds hundreds of light years away. And yet, here we are, Thorn said. The war is over, Admiral. Your forces will stand down. On the Galactic Council station, emergency sessions had been in progress for hours. Representatives from hundreds of worlds demanded explanations, solutions, anything to restore their technological infrastructure. Our entire civilization is paralyzed, Vex announced to the assembled delegates. The humans have somehow gained control of our core systems. A transmission request flashed on the main screen. When activated, it showed Admiral Thorn, sitting calmly in what appeared to be a simple office. Behind him was an Earth flag, a symbol most aliens had never bothered to learn before the war began. Greetings, Council members, Thorn said. I trust I have your full attention now. What do you want? Vex demanded, mandibles clicking furiously. The return of our technological control? That's part of it, Thorn acknowledged. But first I want to introduce you to someone. The camera panned to reveal Counselor Tella standing beside him. Traitor, hissed several council members. Tella shook her head, all four eyes blinking in sequence. No, I came to understand the truth. The humans never wanted this war. They prepared for it because they understood the nature of power in the galaxy. They knew that showing weakness would invite attack. Which is exactly what happened, Thorn added. So what now? Asked Vex. You control our technology. Will you destroy us? No, Thorn replied. We're going to reform the Galactic Council. Make it an actual governing body, not just a facade for military powers like the Meridians to hide behind. Vex's compound eyes reflected the light as he considered this. And if we refuse? Thorn smiled without humor. We both know that's not an option. Professor Reyes walked through the corridor of the captured alien dreadnought, examining their technology with professional interest. Dr. Morgan accompanied him, taking readings with her advanced sensors. It's remarkable, she commented. In some areas, they're centuries ahead of us. In others, they never explored the possibilities we did. Reyes nodded. Different evolutionary paths lead to different technological priorities. They focused on faster-than-light travel and energy manipulation. We focused on quantum mechanics and stealth. And psychological warfare, Morgan added. Our greatest advantage was that they underestimated us. They saw what they expected to see. A primitive species just beginning to explore space, Reyes agreed. They entered the ship's engine room, where engineers were already studying the alien faster-than-light drive. With this technology integrated into our systems, we could expand throughout the galaxy, Morgan said. Reyes studied her expression. Is that what we want? To become like them? Spreading across thousands of worlds? Maybe not, she replied thoughtfully. But we should have the choice. In what had been designated as a neutral meeting ground, an orbital station above Earth's moon, representatives from both sides gathered to discuss terms. Admiral Thorn and Secretary General Rivera represented Earth. High Arbiter Vex, Counselor Tella, and several other alien representatives attended for the Galactic Council. Conspicuously absent was General Kraz, who had been taken into custody by his own government after evidence of his unauthorized strikes against Earth's colonies had been made public. Our terms are simple, Rivera began. Earth and all human colonies will be recognized as sovereign territory. A new galactic charter will be drafted with provisions against unprovoked military action. Vex's mandibles moved slowly as he considered. And our technology? Will be returned to your control once the new charter is ratified, Thorn replied, with safeguards in place to prevent future aggression. One of the alien representatives, a crystalline being that communicated through light pulses, flashed in what translated as indignation. You would keep this power over us permanently? Think of it as mutually assured restraint, Rivera explained. We have no interest in controlling your worlds or your people. We only want peace here on fair terms, Counselor Tella spoke up. I have spent time with the humans. They could have destroyed us. Instead, they disabled our weapons but maintained our life support. They captured our soldiers but treated them humanely. Vex's compound eyes turned toward her. You trust them? I understand them, she replied. They prepared for war hoping they would never need to fight it. When forced to fight, they sought to minimize casualties. These are not the actions of conquerors, the crystalline being flashed again, but their technology, their deception was a response to being watched, studied, and judged by powers that saw them as prim. The massive holographic display in Earth's unified command center showed thousands of points of light, each representing an alien military installation across the galaxy. Secretary General Rivera stood before it, surrounded by Earth's military and scientific leadership. The room was silent as Admiral Thorne outlined Operation Hydra. "For 9 months we've been on the defensive," Thorne began, his voice steady despite the exhaustion evident on his face. "We've protected our home system, but the aliens still believe they can wear us down through superior numbers and resources." He gestured, and the display zoomed in on specific targets for space stations, shipyards, weapons facilities. "It's time to show them how wrong they are." Dr. Morgan stepped forward. "Project Prometheus has given us control of their systems, but we've used it defensively so far. Operation Hydra will utilize our hidden assets throughout the galaxy." The hologram shifted, revealing hundreds of stealth vessels positioned near key targets. These ships had been placed years before the war began, hiding in asteroid fields, gas giant atmospheres, and other locations invisible to standard scans. "Simultaneous strikes on 317 targets," Admiral Thorne continued. "Primarily military installations with minimal civilian impact. Our goal is not destruction but demonstration." General Wallace, commander of Earth's ground forces, frowned. "The Galactic Council still refuses our peace terms. They think we're bluffing about our reach." "After today," Rivera said quietly, "they won't." Thorne nodded to the communications officer. "Send the execution order. Authorization Thorne Omega 69. Throughout the galaxy, hidden Earth vessels powered up weapon systems. On 317 worlds, human agents activated dormant equipment, and in the quantum network that Earth had secretly built over decades, commands flashed across vast distances instantly. Operation Hydra had begun. High Arbiter Vex was in emergency consultation with military leaders when alarms blared throughout the council station. His aide rushed in, mandibles clicking in distress. "We're under attack! Not just Hera everywhere!" Vex hurried to the command center. The main display showed reports flooding in from across the galaxy. Major military installations reported precision strikes that disabled defensive systems, weapons platforms, and command centers. "How is this possible?" demanded one of the military commanders, a massive reptilian being. "Their forces should be confined to their home system." "They're not," Vex replied grimly. "That's what we failed to understand." The communications officer's voice cut through the chaos. "Incoming transmission from Earth." Admiral Thorne's face appeared on screen. Behind him was a tactical display showing the same installations they were watching, but from the attacker's perspective. "High Arbiter," Thorne said calmly. "By now you understand that your assessment of human capabilities was flawed." Vex's compound eyes narrowed. "You've had ships hidden throughout our territory." "For decades," Thorne confirmed. "While you watched our primitive rockets and thought us confined to our solar system, we were placing assets throughout the galaxy." "Impossible," hissed the reptilian commander. "We would have detected them. The same way you detected our true level of technology?" Thorne asked with a raised eyebrow. "You saw what you expected to see." "Nothing more." Vex's mandibles twitched nervously. "What do you want?" "The same thing we've always wanted. Peace, recognition of our sovereignty, and a reformed council that prevents powerful members from preying on those they perceive as weak." "You attack our military installations and call it peace?" Vex demanded. "We've disabled your capacity to make war," Thorne replied. "Not a single life has been lost in these strikes. Check the reports yourself." As if on cue, confirmation came in from multiple sources. The human strikes had been surgically precise. Weapons disabled, command systems neutralized, but life support and civilian infrastructure untouched. "I'm on my way to your station now," Thorne continued. "Be prepared to negotiate in earnest this time." The transmission ended, leaving the council leaders in stunned silence. Dr. Amara West, Earth's chief diplomat, prepared her notes as the shuttle approached the Galactic Council station. Beside her, Admiral Thorne gazed out at the massive structure. "Impressive, isn't it?" Dr. West commented. "Their architectural achievements are remarkable," Thorne nodded. "There's much we can learn from them once this conflict is resolved." "If it's resolved," West replied. "They've underestimated us repeatedly. Pride may prevent them from accepting reality even now. The shuttle docked with precision, and the Earth delegation was met by Counselor Tella. Her 4 eyes blinked in a pattern that her species used to indicate respect. "Admiral Thorne, Dr. West," she greeted them. "The Council awaits you." As they walked through the station's grand corridors, Tella spoke quietly. "Your Operation Hydra has caused quite a stir. Many counselors are calling for full military mobilization against Earth." "That would be unwise," Thorne replied evenly. "I agree," Tella said. "I've tried to make them understand the extent of human capabilities, but some refuse to accept that a single system species could pose such a threat." They entered the council chamber on the same room where Thorne had stood alone months ago at the start of the conflict. Now, however, the mood was very different. Fear and anger radiated from many of the delegates. Dr. West stepped forward. "Esteemed representatives of the Galactic Council, I come before you with terms for ending this unnecessary conflict." Ambassador Loon, his scales a deep crimson of anger, hissed. "You attack our military installations across the galaxy and then dictate terms." "We disabled your weapons," Thorne corrected. "Without casualties. Had we wished to destroy rather than disable, this conversation would not be happening." High Arbiter Vex raised a limb for silence. "Present your terms, humans." Dr. West activated a holographic display. "First, recognition of Earth and all human colonies as sovereign territory, exempt from Council military authority. Second, reparations for the unprovoked attacks on our outer colonies. Third, and most importantly, reform of the Council structure to prevent future aggression against emerging civilizations." Murmurs spread through the chamber. A crystalline being near the front emitted pulses of light that the translators rendered as, "Why should we trust a species that concealed its true nature and capabilities?" Dr. West smiled. "With respect, why should we have revealed everything to powers that were watching us with clear military intent? Your surveillance of Earth began centuries ago. We merely responded accordingly. By infiltrating our networks?" another delegate demanded. "By placing hidden ships throughout our territories. By preparing to defend ourselves," Thorne stated firmly. "Everything we did was defensive in nature until you attacked our colonies." Vex's compound eyes studied them carefully. "And if we reject your terms?" "Then Operation Hydra was merely a demonstration," Thorne replied. "We have other capabilities we haven't yet revealed." The chamber fell silent. On Earth, Professor Reyes monitored the diplomatic proceedings through the quantum network. Beside him, Dr. Morgan reviewed data from the Hydra strikes. 100% success rate, she noted. "All targets neutralized with minimal collateral damage," Reyes nodded. "And how are our other systems performing?" "The quantum entanglement network remains stable. We still have control of their primary defense and communication systems." On the screen, they watched as the council delegates argued among themselves. Some advocated immediate acceptance of human terms. Others called for continued resistance. "They still don't fully understand what they're facing," Morgan observed. "Pride," Reyes replied. "They've been the dominant power in the galaxy for millennia. It's difficult to accept that a newcomer has outmaneuvered them so completely." Morgan's console beeped with an alert. "We're detecting unusual activity in the Meridian sector. Ships gathering near their homeworld." Reyes frowned. General Kraz was relieved of command, but he still has supporters. "Monitor the situation closely." In a secure facility on the Meridian homeworld, General Kraz had escaped confinement. Surrounded by loyal officers, he reviewed tactical displays. "The Council grows weak," he snarled. "They negotiate with these humans when we should be marshalling every ship, every weapon to crush them." Commander Drex, one of his most devoted followers, nodded. "We've gathered 47 ships loyal to our cause. What are your orders, General?" "The humans have exposed their hidden vessels with this Operation Hydra," Kraz said. "Now we know where they are. We can strike back, but their control of our systems is incomplete," Kraz interrupted. "My scientists have developed isolation protocols. We've modified these ships to operate independently of the main network. The humans can't control what they can't access." He pointed to the display showing Earth's solar system. "We will strike directly at their homeworld. Show them what real war looks like." On the council station, the diplomatic discussions were interrupted by an urgent message. A Meridian officer, his ridgeback stiff with tension, appeared on the main screen. "High Arbiter General Kraz has escaped custody. He's gathered a fleet and disabled their network connections to avoid human control." They're preparing to attack Earth directly. Thorn turned sharply to Dr. West. We need to return immediately. High Arbiter Vex's mandibles clicked rapidly. This acti. The Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Council had never held so many representatives. Delegates from over 3,000 worlds crowded the massive chamber, their diverse forms creating a living tapestry of galactic life. Floating crystalline beings hovered next to massive reptilians. Gaseous entities in containment spheres drifted beside insectoid diplomats, and for the first time, a significant delegation of humans stood on the central platform. High Arbiter Vex called for order, his mandibles clicking rhythmically to activate the chamber's acoustic systems. The buzzing conversations gradually faded into expectant silence. This emergency session of the Galactic Council, Vex announced, will now address the proposed Sol Accords. The massive view screen surrounding the chamber displayed the document in question as a comprehensive treaty that would fundamentally reshape galactic governance. The hall hummed with tension. Admiral Thorn stepped forward. Unlike his first appearance before the Council a year ago, he now stood as an equal, perhaps even as something more. The defeat of General Kraz's renegade fleet by the previously hidden Defender Prime had eliminated the last significant military opposition to Earth. Now, most species simply wanted to understand how humans had achieved so much in secret. Esteemed representatives, Thorn began, his voice carrying clearly through the vast space. 1 year ago, I stood in this chamber as an accused criminal. Today, I stand before you with an opportunity, wise to transform a conflict that none of us wanted into a new era of cooperation and mutual security. Ambassador Loon, his scales now a cautious yellow-green, raised his head. Some would say you come not with an opportunity, but with demands backed by military superiority. Murmurs of agreement rippled through sections of the gathering. If domination was our goal, Thorn replied calmly, this conversation would not be happening. Earth has demonstrated capabilities beyond what most thought possible. We could have used that power destructively. Instead, we disabled rather than destroyed. We protected rather than conquered. He gestured to the document displayed above them. The Sol Accords are not demands. They are proposals designed to prevent future conflicts like the one we've just experienced. Dr. Amara West stepped forward to join him. The core principle is simple. No species or alliance may take military action against another without the unanimous consent of a reformed Security Council, one with representation from all major galactic regions, including previously unrepresented frontier worlds. A delegate from the Proxima systems, a tall, willowy being with 6 arms a row, raised a limb. You've proven your military prowess, humans, but governance requires more than power. It requires wisdom. What makes Earth qualified to reshape a system that has maintained relative peace for millennia? Secretary General Rivera, who had traveled from Earth for this historic session, answered, perhaps it's precisely because we are newcomers that we can see the flaws in your system. Your relative peace has come at the cost of countless emerging civilizations that were subjugated before they could develop independently. She gestured toward several delegates from frontier worlds who nodded in solemn agreement. We've spoken with many species who suffered similar approaches from the dominant powers. Surveillance, infiltration, and eventually subjugation or guided development that served the interests of the powerful, and yet countered a crystalline being whose light pulses translated as skepticism. You humans concealed your true capabilities. You developed weapons in secret. You placed stealth vessels throughout our territories without permission. Are these the actions of a species committed to transparency and peace? A moment of tense silence followed. We concealed our capabilities because we had to, Thorn replied, his voice quieter now. From the moment your probes detected Earth, we were studied as potential subjects, not as potential equals. Our deception was defensive or a shield, not a sword. Counselor Tella, who had become something of a bridge between humans and the established galactic powers, moved to the center of the platform. I have spent considerable time with the humans since this conflict began. I've visited their world, studied their history. What I found was remarkable. Aurelam, a species with both great capacity for conflict and great desire for peace. Her 4 eyes blinked in sequence as she addressed the assembly. They fought among themselves for thousands of years, developing combat techniques and weapons we never imagined. But they also created art of breathtaking beauty, philosophy that rivals our greatest thinkers. and social structures that value individual rights alongside collective responsibilities. She turned to face the human delegation. They could have conquered us. Instead, they offer partnership. In a private chamber adjacent to the main hall, Professor Reyes worked with a team of alien scientists, explaining the principles behind some of human technology. Holographic displays showed quantum entanglement networks, hyperspace pocket technology, and phase-shift weapons. The key breakthrough was understanding that quantum entanglement isn't limited by conventional physics, Reyes explained. Once we solved the decoherence problem, we could maintain instantaneous communication across any distance. A Centauri physicist, whose brain was visible through her transparent cranium, studied the equations with obvious fascination. "This contradicts established theory." "Only the theories you chose to explore," Reyes replied. "Your civilizations focused on faster-than-light travel through conventional space. We focused on alternative approaches, but why?" asked another scientist, a cybernetic entity from the machine worlds. "Why pursue these particular technologies instead of the obvious path of interstellar expansion?" Dr. Morgan, who had joined the session, answered, "Because we knew we weren't alone. Early in our development, we detected your signals, your probes. We realized that rushing into space might attract attention before we were ready. So you developed in secret," the Centauri concluded, "creating the appearance of a primitive civilization while actually leapfrogging our technology in specific areas." Reyes nodded. "Precisely. We couldn't match your 1,000-year head start in conventional technology, so we looked for paths you hadn't explored. The cybernetic scientist processed this. Logical. Unconventional but logical. There's something else you should understand," Dr. Morgan added. "Our development wasn't motivated by conquest or competition. It was driven by survival. We didn't know if you would be friendly or hostile. We had to prepare for the worst while hoping for the best. And now?" asked the Centauri. Morgan smiled. "Now we hope to share what we've learned, and to learn from you in return." Back in the main chamber, the debate had grown heated. Representatives from military powers that had dominated the old council structure argued against the proposed changes. Delegates from smaller worlds and frontier systems spoke passionately in favor. Secretary General Rivera listened patiently until the arguments began to circle back on themselves. Then she stepped forward again. "Perhaps it would help to understand exactly what humans want," she said, her voice cutting through the clamor. The chamber quieted. "We want to be part of this galactic community, not its rulers. We want to share our knowledge and learn from yours. We want trade, cultural exchange, scientific collaboration." She paused, her expression growing more serious. "But we also want security for ourselves and for every species. No more peacekeeping missions that are actually invasions. No more surveillance of developing worlds with an eye toward exploitation. No more manipulation of emerging civilizations." High Arbiter Vex's compound eyes reflected the light as he studied her. "And if we reject these terms? If we refuse to change our ways?" Admiral Thorne answered this question. "Then Earth will protect itself and any worlds that wish our protection. We'll establish an alternative alliance. One based on mutual respect and security." The chamber erupted in voices. The possibility of the galactic community splitting into competing blocks surrounded with Earth's superior technology on one side was alarming to many. Vex raised all four limbs for silence. When the chamber finally quieted, he spoke with unusual humility. "A year ago, we dismissed humans as primitives barely worth our attention. We were wrong. Catastrophically wrong." His mandibles clicked softly. "Perhaps we should consider that we might be wrong about other things as well." In a secure holding area, General Kraz awaited judgment. The once proud military leader sat slumped on a bench, his ridgeback flat against his spine, a sign of defeat in his species. The door dissolved, allowing Counselor Tella to enter. "Have they decided my fate?" Kraz asked without looking up. "Not yet," Tella replied. "Your actions violated both council law and the military codes of your own people. The humans have requested to participate in your trial." Now Kraz did look up, alarm showing in his eyes. "They want revenge." "Actually, no," Tella said. "They've asked that your life be spared. They propose rehabilitation and reparative work instead of execution." Kraz blinked in confusion. "Why?" "I tried to destroy their world." "They believe all sentient beings can change," Tella explained. "It's a cornerstone of their philosophy. They want you to understand why your actions were wrong, not simply punish you for them. I still don't understand them, Kraz admitted. Few do, Tella replied. That was our greatest mistake. We assumed we understood,